And good afternoon, and welcome to season 5, episode 14 of the Leaders Only Digital Show and Podcast. I am Samaj, and we are waiting for my brother Kendall to come in. We're experiencing technical difficulties on his end, but we are brought to you today by What a Change Mentoring and Tone Drone TV. In today's episode, we will be discussing some serious current events. So please invite your friends, your family to check out our Leaders Only show. Have a watch party, subscribe, stream it live. You can also hit the bell, click the like button, also comment. And if you're watching after the live stream, you can always put hashtag replay in the comments and let us know that you were here. Definitely a great day in the DMV. It's a little bit warmer, but it's rainy, so you know what I mean. As the temperature go up and down, protect your immune system. As we get into our first story is a story about Purdue Farms agreeing to a $4 million settlement in child labor probe. So Purdue Farms will pay $4 million in restitution after an employed children in a hazardous occupation at Virginia plant and let them work past 7 p.m. during the regular school week. The U.S. Department of Labor announced this. The hazardous work at the Accomack facility included deboning chicken using equipment such as electronic knives, the department said in a news release. As far as back as 2020, Purdue Farms contracted with SMX to fill production jobs. The conditions violated the Fair Labor Standards Act, and in October 2023, the U.S. Department of Labor's Wage and Hour Division launched a probe into child labor violations following the September 2023 incident that recounted the story of 14-year-old Guatemalan boy whose arm was maimed while working on an overnight cleaning shift at Purdue's facility on the Eastern Shore. Purdue Farms will pay restitution to children, organizations advocating for child labor victims, and to support prevention efforts. The company also will pay $150,000 in fines. Um, First and foremost, I'm just happy that some justice was paid or was awarded to the people who were working, um, especially after what happened to that 14-year-old boy. It's such a slippery slope though, because it's like, I guess it's the type of job that they were doing, and the conditions. Because when I was 14, 15, I had a job. You know what I mean? Especially if you could get a worker's permit, then you could go to work. So that being one thing, the main thing would be having people in positions that are too severe or too strenuous for their age. Outside of that, it's not one of them big things. I mean, deboning a chicken, uh, using equipment such as electrical knives, I would say no to that. But I also wonder how many children that it were. If it's like a big children ring and you're underpaying them and those type of things, then that's different. When I was coming up, again, 15, I worked at Shoney's. I remember my mother made me quit because they were making me work, or they kept holding me up after midnight. So my mom wasn't going for that because I had to wake up and go to school the next day. But as long as there's no foul play, I understand that the conditions violated the Fair Labor Standards Act. So that right there speaks for itself. But it's a slippery slope when you're talking about working. Some people are 14, 15 years old and they need to work. I wouldn't put them in positions where they can harm themselves, such as the 14-year-old Guatemalan boy. But there's jobs like passing out flyers, marketing, promotion, doing stuff online nowadays, doing TikToks. Um, Stuff in that nature can easily answer the problem to what they had, and just having children working at an early age in those conditions, meaning doing those positions. Outside of that, me personally, I don't see a problem with somebody working at 14 years old. It just depends on, like I said, the type of work. So if you're Purdue, just make sure you know that you're staying in the realm of the guidelines. But outside of that, yeah, I worked at 14, 15 years old. Moving forward, man, we get into our next story. A mom was arrested for letting her 14-year-old babysit, and she has finally been cleared. When COVID 19 shut down her children's daycare in May of 2020, and Melissa Henderson had to go to work, she asked her 14-year-old daughter, Lindley, to babysit the 4 year younger siblings. Lindley was engaged in remote learning when her youngest brother, 4-year-old Thaddeus, spied his friend outside and went over to play with him. It was about 10 or 15 minutes before Lindley realized he was missing. She guessed that he must be at his friend's house and went to fetch him. In the meantime, the friend's mom had called the police. She was placed inside a police cruiser and taken to the county jail, where she was photographed, fingerprinted, and given a pair of bright orange Crocs. Henderson, a single mom, was faced with criminal reckless conduct charges. The charges carry a maximum penalty of 1 year in prison and a fine of $1,000. The arresting officer, Deputy Sheriff Mark Polite, wrote in his report that anything terrible could have happened to Thaddeus, including being kidnapped, run over, or bitten by a venomous snake. In the end, the judge stated this court is bound to find in favor of the defendant, as the state has failed to allege evidence sufficient to indicate that the defendant consciously disregarded a substantial and unjustified risk. Again, another, this is tough, you know what I mean? Because you're dealing with a single mother. I come from a single mother background, and my mom often worked more than one job. So I was the oldest, so I was left, to watch my brother and sister sometimes overnight, until the time we had to go to school the next day. I'm just happy that the child wasn't harmed, and nothing strenuous or catastrophic happened. So she can really defend her case without it being something serious happening. Like one of the things that the officer has said about, being run over, or being kidnapped, or bitten by a venomous snake. That's the greatest part, because when nothing happens and then you lock this woman up, at least she gets the right to say, man, I'm a mother. My oldest child is 14. I was only going to be gone for a certain amount of time. I have to go. I have to work. COVID 19 was a time that hit us that none of us had experienced before. So that's tough in itself. And then it's all left up in the hands of the jury. So with this, it doesn't hurt that she is a Caucasian woman in the penal system, in the judicial system. You know what I mean? So for them to even have locked her up and processed her like that, that was that was shocking. You know what I mean? Because they really do try to protect the Caucasian woman in this country. But I don't think no parent, no color, no nothing should be put in those circumstances, especially when they're trying to go out and do something honest to take care of their children. I mean, you only have a certain amount of choices, and you know what I mean. When her daycare shut down, a lot of times jobs don't try to hear that. Then, if a job is trying to hear that, if they don't allow you to bring in work, you're gonna have to take off for work. So now you're not going to be able to get the money that you need to take care of your family. Again, slippery slope, man. I guess that might be the cultural difference too, because a lot of times in the so-called black colored community, you're dealing with a lot of single mothers. You're dealing with a lot of things that may be dysfunctional, a lot of things that may be traumatic, a lot of things that may be abnormal are normal to us. You know what I mean? Our circumstances are different. So we don't look at something like this as serious until, something happens. I think had she been gone for a weekend, that would have been a little bit something, a little bit more. Or maybe if the oldest was maybe like 10, that might have been different. But you are dealing with a teenager who should have enough responsibility not to open the door for anyone, to follow your rules and to be able to lock themselves in somewhere safely and be able to dial 911. Um, I pray that family members see stuff like this, and don't have to put them in that situation, because oftentimes, be it male or female, this case it's a mother, but a lot of times in this world we just feel like we are alone, that we don't have nobody that can help us, or to ask for that help is gonna, be like pulling teeth to get them to help. So you would much rather just handle it on your own. But as we can see, man, it can come back to bite us in the butt. So as I always say, man, it takes a village. I don't understand why we don't, enjoy or embrace the village concept. And why the village, doesn't clean up its act in its entirety, so we can be in the same frequency, so it doesn't feel like a burden. You know what I mean? And you don't feel like you're wrapped up in your own world. A lot of us have too many different individual worlds in our culture, that it doesn't interdepend on one another, and that leaves us not being able to depend on pretty much anybody, and you're left depending on a teenager. You know what I mean? So above all, glad to see the judicial system work out in the correct way this time. I don't believe any parent should be in jail for this. I believe that they should talk as a family. I believe that the young man, the young child who did go off, and who was lost, needs to have a correct communication system. Y'all have to have a correct means of communication so they know what to do, and how to tell somebody when they're going somewhere, because it gets really serious when there's not a parent around. And, it can become very scary for the eldest sibling who's still just a child. You know what I mean? They're doing their best, but they're still a child. So, all in all, man, let's be mindful. Let's keep our children protected. Let's work together within family, but if we can, look for some more free programs, look for after school programs, look for volunteers, just any way that you can get some help so you don't be in this situation ever again. Um, Definitely would love to hear your thoughts on this one. Let us know what you think in the comments. You can also email us at any given time. But this is definitely something that I feel like we experience every day in our community. Now, moving forward, we would always like you to jump in with us as we take a break, and we want you to continue to encourage you and others to be the best that you can be, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. We really need to get on the board with our financial literacy and our emotional intelligence. We want you to practice safe habits. We want you to protect yourself from the elements in the bitter cold and snow. We want you to dress appropriately when outside. Also, keep in mind, as you can see, this week we had 2 days that were in about the mid 50s, almost 60s. So protect your immune system and dress for the season and not for the weather, because that's how your immune system does get overpowered, because you get the dressing for the day instead of remembering that it is still winter. Be aware of your surroundings. Try to travel in groups during the day and night as much as possible. Always let somebody know where you're going. If you have to share your location, do so. Eat right, sleep correctly, stay in a routine, meditate, pray, and please, 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 please work out. Ain't none of this doing us no good if you can't even walk up a flight of steps without breathing heavily. And we are at war, and you need to keep that in mind. What good are you to anyone if you're not good to yourself, if you're obese and you're not feeling like your best self? Be mindful that we do have a suicide hotline, and it is an emergency number as well. You can always dial it. It is 988. You can call it or text it, and don't hesitate if you're struggling. That's the worst thing that we can do, is just keep it to ourselves. Now, as we move forward to our final story, this is really gut wrenching and heartbreaking, man. A 17-year-old basketball star shot and killed going to school with his mom in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 17-year-old high school basketball star Noah Scurry, who had the highest SAT score in his graduation class, was killed in Philly a day after he dissed his ops in his first ever rap music video. Noah Scurry, a member of the Samuel Fells basketball team, was shot multiple times on the rising of January 14th. Scurry and his mother were on their way to Samuel Fells High School in Feltonville around 7:15 a.m. When the athlete was shot multiple times on the 5,000 block of Tacony Creek Park in Roosevelt Boulevard. He was transported to Jefferson Einstein Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 7:37 a.m. A source close to law enforcement said that dozens of shots were fired at Scurry, Samuel Fells High School principal Melissa Rapsper confirmed that a student athlete had been killed tragically and said the boys basketball team will cancel their games for the remainder of the week. Ours is a tight knit community, and I know that this is difficult news to receive, Rasper wrote. Death is rarely something that is easily to accept, especially when it involves a young person, a classmate, particularly during these times as our city grapples with heightened gun violence. This student was about to graduate. He probably would have had offers to play basketball at colleges across the country, and it's just a life senselessly cut short. Mental health professionals were available for students who wanted assistance coping with their grief. School counselors were also available and will be available to talk to for the students that have someone to talk to. In this case, a white Jeep Cherokee, a Grand Jeep Cherokee, matching the description of the vehicle seen leaving the murder scene, was recovered in Northeast Philadelphia Wednesday rising, according to the police. Philadelphia police are offering a $20,000 reward for the information leading to the arrest and conviction of Noah Scurry's killer. Uh, man, I mean, first and foremost, as we do, it's becoming a recurring thing. We just want to send our condolences out. Number one, to the city of Philadelphia. That's where myself and my brother were born. A lot of our family still reside. That's where we call home. One of our homes, our initial home, and it is tough. Um, it's heartbreaking, man. You know what I mean? Being a former student athlete, normally we use sports um, as our vehicle to run away, as our vehicle to get out of the ghetto, get out of our dysfunctional households, get out of the domestic violence situations, get away from the drug infested, violent infested communities. And he had a shot. You know what I mean? So, secondly, want to send my heart and my condolences out to his mother and his family. Just sending strength and love, some understanding, because I know there's no way in the world that parents can understand what is going on in today's time, where today you drop the video, tomorrow you're gone. Back in the day when I was coming up, and I hate to sound so old, it was just like, okay, you drop a diss record, I'm gonna drop a diss record. You drop another diss record, I'm finding the studio so I can run in the studio so I can get another diss record. This is what hurts the most when you see people like Kendrick Lamar and Drake getting so much coverage, and people, comparing it to the Tupacs and the Biggies, and you just know that it's not serious because there's no comparison to the type beefing that these are not even grown ups. These are our kids. There's no amount of beefing that amounts to the seriousness that they're taking it. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I don't know why. I don't know why choosing your knuckles is not the choice no more. I don't know if it's because there's not enough fathers in the home, so people can't fight. I don't know if there's not enough emotional intelligence, so people can't talk. I don't even know why the handguns and these weapons are so accessible to young men. I know that you could walk in the store, as an adult and buy a gun, but some of these ages that these young men have guns, it's just sad. You know what I mean? And then now you see that the rap music and the genre of rap has now infiltrated, in the streets have infiltrated the young men who actually have a shot. Not to say that all young men don't have a shot, but some people don't choose to. Some people won't stop doing what they do, be it in the streets, be it if they do this, if they do that. They just won't stop. They'll continue to do that. They won't take a break to say, "Hey, man, I want better. I'm gonna go be on the team. I'm gonna try to get me a scholarship." Most people who have a set in their mind to do the street thing, or what I mean, they're gonna do that. That's what they're gonna do. They're not gonna dibble and dabble. And to see him, and so many young men today think that it's a game. You know what I mean? They think that that's a game. Oh, you see the video right there. You know, it's sad because you could get a group of those people, and there's at least 20 people, and you could see or ask the question, how many of y'all read this week? Read a book today? How many of y'all prayed this week? Prayed today? How many of y'all, talk to each other about your goals? You know what I mean? And where you see yourself in the next 10 years. Um, if they even have that conversation, I guarantee you, a majority of them have accepted that they will see themselves dead or in jail in the next 5 to 10 years. And that's where it's sad. You know what I'm saying? Because at least when I was coming up, there was a line. If you was gonna play sports, if you was gonna go to school, if you was gonna get your grades off, that's what you was gonna do. But now it's like you're gonna do that, and you still want to drink the lean, and you still want to be on the block, and you still want to rap, and you still it's just not making no sense because everybody want to be everything now. And in my heart, I mean, I don't. That's why I backed away from rap music. That's why I backed away from the industry because when you got real life going on, um, and adults don't want to stop this. Adults don't want to help on a consensual level. I'm not going to say that there's no people that want to help, but what I'm saying is the majority of our results are looking like this, and you can pick Philly, D.C., Detroit, New York, pick a borough, L.A., Chicago, Houston, Miami, anywhere that is the inner city and predominantly, so-called black. Um, we're dealing with the uproar of gun violence and just violence and the lack of self-love and self-worth. To the point that where now it's just me, it's how I feel from my heart that rap music is number one different from hip hop, but rap is a to me it's a war weapon. At this point, I really feel rap music is a war weapon and it contributes to our genocide. I believe hip hop was a tool. I really do. I believe hip hop was a tool, but I believe rap music is literally a war weapon of mass destruction. And it's sad that it's just infecting our community and it's really becoming a plague, you know. I work with high school athletes, as you know, I'm a mental health coach, so I look for athletes like this. Um, and just young men to be able to speak to them, to tell them, it's sad that this is very first video and the content that he chooses. Um, he could have even easily, chosen to make music about how everybody around him choosing to do that, but he got an opportunity. You know what I mean? But when our game or our culture, justifies and glorifies this type of nonsense, and then you see the people who do it to a high degree, they getting paid, or everybody getting paid. All you need is one song, and taking Xanax, taking Oxycontins, taking lean, smoking weed, and alcohol and whatever else. Like it's like 4 or 5 different drugs at one time, and these young men's brains haven't even developed yet. It's just sad, and it leads us back to just like the beginning of our season 5 when we were saying that we need fathers in the household. We need men to be back at the leadership of our communities, and it's going to take real, sensible, strong women who don't want to compete to let us back in our position and respect our position because that's the only way the other women are going to respect our position. You know what I'm saying? Every group now just has a slight percentage of people who get it, who realize what either the Most High said, what practically makes sense, who's willing just to accept the truth. You know what I'm saying? You only got a little bit of people now in each group, be it gay, be it straight, be it men, be it women. And you talk about our community because you look at things like TikTok. Just look at what happened last night, within yesterday into today. 12 hours TikTok went down. And these is grown folks. I'm talking about my peers and older. You that distraught over an app. Well, if you just seen the video that we just played, those guns and those videos are all over the apps. And these apps are for networking, building brands, you know what I'm saying? Or they for the babies, you know what I'm saying? Because this is the generation that they're born into. They don't know about life before, the internet. And that's that sweet spot. You want to know how you, if you're an OG, you want to know if you up the bat to start leading, to start speaking up, to start leading by example. If you can remember a time before the internet, if you was born in the 80s, early 90s, it's your turn. If you 30 and up, it's your turn. You can't be doing the same thing that children are doing and then expect for us to come out of hell. I'll be honest, bro. This shit is like hell, bro. Our future depends on our offspring. So if they ain't gonna be around, or if we ain't pouring nothing inside of them, or if they not an asset and they ain't doing nothing but becoming more and more liabilities to one another, then we're just gonna keep going backwards, bro. We're just gonna keep going backwards. And I see it. You know what I'm saying? Because people rather be cool. People rather be right in their own mind but be dead wrong with the circumstances. Look at our circumstances. Ain't nothing that's benefiting you as an individual, just being an individual, helping push the culture, the community forward. There's no way. Look at this video, bro. For that to be your first video and you a high school athlete, this is why when we talk to our students and our student athletes, look, you better be careful what you put on social media because that could cost you your scholarship. Costing you your scholarship could cost you your future. You're going to have different results if you choose to have to go through the penal system. If you choose to get felonies, if you choose to not get an education, then when you look up and you're in your 30s and you're in your 40s and you're in your 50s and you got to go work at Food Line or you got to go work at McDonald's and make $16 an hour and you know that ain't enough, and then you got to go get another job and another job. This men and women. This is for whomever decides not to cash in on the opportunities when we're young. This is why we have to read. This is why you get A's and B's, not because you want to be cool getting D's and F's. You get A's and B's, man, because that's the easiest way as a youngster that you can secure your future because you don't make enough income and you're not old enough to be just making your decisions to run your life. So the opportunities that are given to you, you got to cash in on. You have to cash in on. And I'm going to tell you this. The kids who make the right choices and make the right decisions and choose not to go this route and stuff like that, they the ones get looked over. They get called squares, you know what I'm saying? They get called punks, you know what I'm saying? They not cool. um but then they turn into the adults that everybody need. If this young man was just solely wrapped up into his books and basketball, and he was, just full of self-worth, if he just knew how much he was worth, if he knew his value, if he knew that, bro, I know Philadelphia, you know what I'm saying? I know what it looked like there. It gets oftentimes depressing in Philly at times when you go, and you just turn the news on, you just hear it, or you just see how people act towards each other, you know what I'm saying, at times. And you just know that, damn, man, here's a rose that's growing out of the concrete, and he got an opportunity to get out of here, to make it better, to make it better. You know what I mean? That's what we want. We want to be able to make it better so somebody else coming up behind him can say, man, I'm from right down the block, man. I ain't had my dad. My brother was killed. This, that, and the third. I come from, crack baby. I come from my mom being abused, mom abusing my dad verbally, this, that, and the third. But I just want better. I just want better. And guess what? I know I can get better because I seen so and so do it. We ain't even getting them opportunities no more. Young men wiping each other off the board before they even turn 18. And it's sad. You know what I'm saying? It's really sad that what everybody holds these celebrities up for perpetuating. This is why I get upset when people are 40, 50, multimillionaires, and they still choose to make this music or videos like this. You can go online right now and find 10 people, 40, damn near 50 years old, their videos look like that. They lyrics still insinuating the same things. And it's like, bro, there's no way. You're a multimillionaire. You know, you have tons of stuff you could tell us about. You could tell us knowledge that I'm sure you done came across on your travels. You know what I'm saying? You can tell us how you healed. How did you go from, being in the streets, being a womanizer or being abused, being dysfunctional family or being this? How did you change to get your mind right to elevate yourself to becoming a multimillionaire, businessman, stand up guy, father, this, that, and the third? What made you not want to do that no more? What made you not want to sell drugs no more? What made you not want to be a part of the problem no more? Or you still a part of the problem? But my thing is, a dope beat and how you put the substance together, that's on you. You know what I mean? What you choosing to rap about, it shows. Either you agenda pusher or, you know what I mean, you here to find a resolution, to use the music as, your voice. Above all, you're an entertainer. So we're not looking for entertainers to be our leaders, but our brothers and sisters before they even become these entertainers. They still are brothers and our sisters, and they're still within our community. And this youngster here is one of our younger brothers, one of our babies. And I just pray, the example goes out to all the other athletes, all the other young men and young women in this world. We living in a different time. We living in a different time, and the frequency is so low that you can't just be disrespecting people, and everybody's not gonna take it the same way. We're living in a time where we already didn't have a bunch of self love. I've been here 40 years and I ain't seen nobody raised on self love. I've never, I've never seen nobody raised off of anything but survival. Most of the households that I've seen, that I grew up in, that I've seen, they was living paycheck to paycheck. So it's hard, but it's up to us to make it better. So my heart goes out to this young man. My heart goes out to the people who he dissed, because it could all have went another way. You know what I mean? And I pray that older people from both sides, wherever they, I don't know where they beefing, and I'm not in that, but I just pray that there's some older people that's around that can mediate and start stepping in, or just, you ain't gonna stop a person from doing whatever they want to do, no way, but just share stories, bro. Try to nip it in the bud before it happens, because now you don't know who the 17-year-old is related to. You don't know. You just don't know, bro. And the only thing that I can do is just pray that this doesn't get out of hand, and that this doesn't start a war that lasts for 20, 30 years, because that's where a lot of beefs and a lot of problems in our community stem from one incident where it wasn't all good, but everything was under control. I'll say that. You know what I mean? And you over there, I'm over here, but bygones could be bygones. Once you took it there, we take it here, and you killed my cousin. You killed my da 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 da. And from there, you can't find no resolution, and this goes on for multiple years. So it's tough, man. Like I said, these type of stories are the reason why I wanted to just change my life and just devote it um, to the next generation. You try so hard with adults, but you oftentimes can't be honest with adults without their feelings getting involved. And the fact that they are adults, they don't respect you like a young person does, so then they begin to disrespect you. Um, but from the top to the bottom, we need the help. I just ask and pray that there's more people that are healing and that are getting to the finish line of their healing, that can go and give some of your time, um, first to your children, but then to other people's children in the community, be it through programs, be it through courses, be it through coaching, or just volunteering. Um, because if we keep going at this rate, man, it's going to be hard for other people to take us serious. It's gonna really hard. By this time, it's like we can't get our women, you know what I mean, to follow, to listen, to get out of the world of I don't need a man for this, that, and the third, or trying to be men. Um, we can't get our men, you know what I'm saying, to stick together and realize that we are our only allies. We can't, get our babies to listen to us because we don't practice what we preach through action. Too many breaks, too much playing, too much dancing, too many of age people afraid to become adults. And we're gonna need more adults out here. Blaming people ain't gonna do it. The blame game, it don't even make no sense. It don't mean nothing. It ain't getting us nowhere. We are all wrong until we all are all right. So please tell us your thoughts on this tragedy. Let us know in the comments. Again, my heart goes out to this family. My heart goes out to the young men who got this. My heart goes out to the city of Philadelphia and every inner city in this place that they call the United States. Because I get it. I get it from the athlete side. I get it from the youngster that just lives in the ghetto who wants better. And you're surrounded by all this madness. You're surrounded by all this madness, and you just wanna get out. I truly get it, and I send my heart out to all those who have to wake up today and tomorrow and bear this pain. I just pray that we can allow the Most High to take us and guide us, because man ain't gonna be able to do it. So, in closing, this is the Leaders Only digital show and podcast, live stream every Sunday at 2 p.m. We appreciate you joining us for season 5, episode 14. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to you joining us next week. If you want to see the full interview of the star of Turning Point, please check the link in our bio. We're also brought to you about What a Change Mentoring and Tone Drone TV. And I am Samaj. My brother Kendall is my co-host. Next week, man, we got to get this daggone technical difficulty together with B-Mix, man. We don't know what's happening with his phone and the connection. But he was here, y'all. My brother's definitely here. So definitely show him some love in the comments, man. And I am Samaj. He's Kendall. Like, share, comment, hit the bell. If you're catching this after you watch this live, please hit the hashtag replay. Email us at leadersonly22@gmail.com. Let us know any stories we should cover, any events coming up within the DMV area or somewhere or close, that we can get to and get back home. Also, if there's anybody who wants to come on the show, just have a fruitful conversation, talk about a topic that needs light, talk about a story that you've been through or that you're going through or that you overcame, something that can be fruitful to our community, please come on. We would love that. We will see you next week, same time. It's definitely been a blessing. Peace and love, you all. And do remember, if you need anything in the health department, like leaders should, go to www.mentalhealthchef.com, from holistic products to food. And if you need any fly gear, it's also up there, elcapitancartel.com. Have a great week, y'all.